Have you ever done something just because someone told you to, even when deep down you knew it was wrong? Would you blindly follow orders from someone in authority, even if it meant hurting someone else? Hello everyone, this is Swati, and today we are diving into one of the most shocking psychological experiments ever conducted: Stanley Milgram's obedience to authority study. What does this experiment tell us about the power of authority and how it influences our actions? Let's find out. It was the early 1960s, just after World War II. The world was still struggling with the horrors of the Holocaust, and people were asking how ordinary individuals could commit such atrocities. Were these people just following orders? Psychologist Stanley Milgram wanted to understand how far people would go when obeying authority figures, even if it meant harming another person. Now, think about any authority in our society. We are taught from a young age to respect them, whether it's parents, teachers, or bosses. But when does obedience cross the line into something dangerous? We have seen countless examples of people blindly following orders without questioning them, whether in bureaucratic settings, politics, or even family traditions. Milgram's experiment was deceptively simple but incredibly powerful. He placed volunteers in a room with an experimenter who acted as the authority figure. The volunteer, who played the role of a teacher, was instructed to administer electric shocks to a learner whenever they answered a question incorrectly. The shocks were not real, but the teacher didn't know that. The learner, an actor, would scream and plead for the shocks to stop, but the experimenter, dressed in a white lab coat symbolizing authority, would instruct the teacher to continue. The question Milgram wanted to answer was, how far would people go when ordered to inflict pain on another person? Imagine this: a school principal who punishes students harshly, or a senior police officer who orders his juniors to use force during a protest. How many people would follow these orders without question, even if they knew it was wrong? This experiment reflects those dilemmas perfectly. At the beginning of the experiment, the volunteers, the teachers, were hesitant. They didn't like the idea of shocking someone, even for an incorrect answer. But as the experimenter insisted, most of them continued to administer the shocks. The learners' cries grew louder and more desperate, but the teachers pressed on, trusting the authority figure in the room. In fact, a shocking 65% of participants were willing to administer the highest voltage shocks even when the learner screamed in a pain or fell silent as if unconscious. The results were disturbing. Milgram's experiment revealed that ordinary people were capable of committing cruel acts simply because they were told to do by someone in a position of authority. The experiment was a powerful reminder of how easily we give up our moral judgment when faced with an authoritative figure. Milgram's experiment forces us to ask, how far would we go if we were told to obey even when it feels wrong? When Milgram published his findings, the world was shocked. People didn't want to believe that ordinary, well meaning individuals could be pushed to do something so cruel just because an authority figure told them to. The experiment sparked a heated debate about ethics and morality and whether such an experiment should even be allowed. In places where respect for authority is a deeply ingrained value, this study raises important questions. From rigid hierarchical structures in families and workplaces to unquestioning obedience in government institutions, we often see examples of people following orders without critically thinking about the consequences. The Milgram experiment forces us to confront this uncomfortable truth. So, what did Milgram's experiment teach us? First, it showed that authority has a profound impact on our decisions. We tend to trust and obey those in power, even when they ask us to do something that feels wrong. Second, it demonstrated that under the right circumstances, almost anyone is capable of harmful behavior, whether it's in a bar, a school, or a family setting. Milgram's findings are universal. It reminds us of the importance of questioning authority and standing up for what we know is right. Today, Milgram's experiment still holds relevance. In our daily lives, we often face situations where authority figures make demands that may conflict with our morals. How often do we stand up and say no? How often do we simply follow because it's easier to obey? The Milgram obedience experiment leaves us with a critical question. Are we ready to question authority even when it means going against the grain? The answer is not always easy, but it is something we must consider. I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's episode. Have you ever followed an order you didn't agree with simply because it came from someone in authority? Share your stories with me and let's continue the conversation on how we can navigate authority with awareness. Until next time, bye.